Okay, skill 3, activity 1. To identify and place mixed numbers and improper fractions on a number line to extend the current knowledge of fractions less than 1 on a number line to fractions greater than 1 or mixed numbers, okay? So the last lesson you did it, which was lesson 3, your students, you learned about what the terminology of what an improper fraction is and what a mixed number is. Remember, improper fraction, we talked about the pieces being broken apart, and mixed number, the pieces put together and make the wholes, okay? So what I'd like to do is you can go ahead and remember when you work at what we're doing is we're transferring what we just learned to a number line. So they're going to go ahead and kind of apply what they already know. So some kids, when you take a look at number line A, you're going to be like, okay, what's this in? And they're going to go through and they're going to look at it and they're going to say, okay, I got to go through and count the parts. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Super common thing that kids do, right? And they're going to say it's in fourths. Say, okay, let's take a closer look now because this number line's not in fourths. And let's talk about what makes this number line different and say, oh, take a look. We have multiple holes now. It goes 0, then 1, then 2. So to figure out what a number line's partitioned in, it's what's in between the holes is what it's partitioned into. So they go ahead and say, okay, ready? 1, 2. Okay, so we know this is in halves, right? That's in halves. And then you can go ahead and you can say, all right, let's figure out what the improper fraction is. What improper fraction would that dot be right there? And then again, using the number line, just like how we did, and you can say, okay, ready? So if we know this is halves now, because they have to figure out first, is it in halves or thirds or fourths? So ready? So 1 half, 2 halves. Okay, we know that this would be right there, would be 3 halves. And then you can say, okay, if we're going to look at it as a mixed number now, ready? We know that, well, this is one whole, and then a hole and a part next to it, right? So if this is one whole, what's that part? And we know that that's half, so it's being 1.5, okay? So again, we're not worried about, teaching them to divide or convert. We're just having them naturally see it on this number line and convert it, okay? And again, you can go ahead and the next one say, okay, let's take a look at what this one is in, and then hopefully they will realize from the mistake that they made on the first one, if they made it, okay, we have to take a look. There's the holes right there, so this would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, this number line is in fourths, okay? So you establish this number line's in fourths, and then you could go ahead and you draw a dot there and say, okay, give me the improper fraction of that, give me the improper fraction of where that dot's at. So again, okay, ready? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. It would be 7/4. And again, if you want them to label it, you want them to go ahead and label 1/4, 2/4. You can have them label it all the way down too. It's going to take a little bit of time, but they're going to get something out of it too. They're going to become familiar with it. Oh, sorry. So we had this one right here. And then say, okay, we know that we had 4, 5, 7/4. And now let's take a look. If we're going to do a mixed number, well, there's our whole number, or our mixed number. So our whole number is right there. And then we have 1/4, 2/4, 1 3/4. Again, they're seeing that it's lining up on the exact same one. Okay. So what you can do is you can go ahead and draw dots and then have them figure out where it's at. You also can give them, just like with the other one, you can go ahead and just give them a random chip. And now what they have to do is they have to figure out, okay, 5/4, they have to go through each number line, figure out what it is, where would 5/4 go. You can give them chips and they can go ahead and place the chips. And then you go over and make sure it's right. Here's another chip, and this one is 4/3, so where would thirds go? Go ahead there, and then again, 1 3/4, where would 1 3/4 go? Well, we have to find fourths, and then 1 3/4 would go there. So have them work with improper fractions and mixed numbers at the same time, and then you could say, okay, there's 5/4. Again, we're not worried about the conversion yet. That's going to come, right? They're going to learn about the conversions. They're going to learn about how to do the conversions later, but we want them to use sort of logic, the number line. All right, so this would be 1 1/4, okay? And this is 1 3/4, okay? Well, all right, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4. This would be 7/4 right there. So having them go back and forth. And remember, number line D, this is open. You can go ahead and partition this into whatever you want to partition into and have them work off of improper fractions or mixed numbers there. So the goal is to go ahead and take their knowledge that they learned from skill 3, which is all about improper fractions and mixed numbers, and now we're transferring it to a number line.